Good morning, Aces. Welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you are staying warm and dry. It's a winter weather advisory where I am. So let's go ahead and get into this story. Denzel is on his promotional tour with the film Gladiator 2. And let me just go ahead and say, first off, some good news before we get into the article about him dealing in the substances. He is not retiring. So he made a clarifying statement that he is going to do Equalizer 4 and 5 in the future. So shout out to him. He's 70 years old, still working hard, but I'm so glad to see that he's not ready to retire just yet. He's one of my favorite actors. So let's get into this article. I feel like Denzel is definitely becoming a lot more candid and open than he has been in the past. And I feel like that might just be, him getting older. I love when I talk to older people and they just, they really don't care. They're at that they're at that point in that stage where they're not biting their tongue for anything. My grandma used to be just like that. I love it. I miss it. I miss her all the time. It says, with Gladiator 2 hitting theaters this week, Denzel Washington has been speaking much more candidly than ever about his decades-long career. In this interview, the two-time Oscar winner revealed that he's been sober for nearly a decade. Next month, in fact, will make it officially 10 years, notably the same month as Washington's 70th birthday. So congratulations to Denzel and his sobriety. According to Washington, drinking ultimately became a 15-year pattern in his life. He noted, however, that it had its roots in a much earlier period. He says, I never got strung out on H. He says, I never got strung out on the Coca-Cola. I never got strung out on hard illegal substances. I shot dope just like they shot dope, but I never got strung out. And I never got strung out on liquor. Says initially, Washington recalled that he stuck to taste things in similar environments, emphasizing that he was able to enjoy the finest wine available. He said, I had this idea of wine tastings and all that, which is what it was at first. And it's a very subtle thing. I mean, I drank the best. And 15 years into it, send me 2 bottles and make it the good stuff, but just 2. He said, and I drink them both over the course of the day. Washington played alcoholic pilot William Whitaker in the movie Flight, which ultimately earned him a Best Actor nomination for the role. Washington joked to The Hollywood Reporter at the time that he had previously semi-quit drinking in his 30s, but for the duration of the Flight shoot, Denzel, who was in his 50s then, he said he did not drink. Reiterated in this Esquire piece, Adam, that he resumed drinking as soon as he finished the movie. Fast forward to now, Washington is aware of the damage that he believes it's done to his body. He said, this is the last chapter, and if I want to get to another 30, what do I do? Much has been made of the acclaimed actor's recent remarks about what he hopes to do as an actor and a filmmaker. Washington himself has clarified multiple times that he does not intend to retire, as some have speculated. Instead, he told Jimmy Kimmel just this week that he's hoping to get behind the camera following a still stacked slate of acting opportunities he has on the horizon. Gladiator 2, Washington's latest, is out this Friday, and the film sees him putting on this amazing Versace robe, rings, and just going crazy. So, congratulations again to Denzel Washington. I feel like Hollywood is an environment where we're learning so much more about how people are pressured into taking, substances, or with the Diddy case that they would be allegedly in, bottles of baby oil, or they would slip things in your drink. And so um, it's such a dangerous, slippery slope, especially if you have like a predisposition to any type of addiction in regards to, your genetics. It might run in your family, but drugs and just all type of, illegal substances are just, they're scary because they're cutting them now with all type of, who knows what. You can't measure what somebody is, giving you. You didn't see it, be prepared. And so I'm glad to know that he is now 10 years sober and that he's focusing more so on his health journey and his well-being. Because he says he wants to be around for another 30 years, which would make him 100. And that's amazing. Every time I look at the elders, like especially the three who were championing, reparations in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they were there during, when Black Wall Street got burned down. They were alive. And just to see them all, still living over 100, I'm just thinking in my mind, there's no, like, I can't even fathom what they went through during that time period. I'm like, they've seen it all, and they've been through it all, but they're survivors and they're strong. So I would love, if Denzel Washington lived past 100, I would love to live past 100. I think that's such a blessing. But I can't wait to see Gladiator 2. I'm definitely, appreciative of the fact that he is sharing his life story and sharing wisdom on this promotional tour. One thing I love about promotional tours with actors, is that you get a chance to just have them share little tidbits of their life. I feel like we don't get that often. This is, I think, the most open that Denzel Washington has been, which is smart, because a lot of times too, they'll twist your words, or, um, you can say one thing and not necessarily mean it that way, and it'll get blown out of proportion. I mean, we just saw, with the doctor who was walking around naked in his office in Arkansas, Dr. David, that's what his name was, Naked Dr. Dave. But in all seriousness, he was unethical in his business practices as a physician, and he was overprescribing, opioids and things like that, pain medication to his patients. Not only is that unethical and illegal, it's a crime, but that's how addictions begin. You know what I mean? Like Denzel said, he started out just drinking wine, and then he raised the bar to 2 bottles of wine per day, which, wow, that's a lot. um, but then, that was, I guess, he transitioned to harder things. But I'm glad to hear that once he turned 60, he made the decision to, essentially stop, right? He's been sober for 10 years. So from 60 to 70, he's been living in his sobriety. But, and the thing is, you would never know it, or at least, I don't know, I would never know it. I mean, Denzel Washington always came across my movie screen as someone who was very poised, very polished. Um, but I mean, I look at Michael Jordan, he was one of the best athletes in the world. And now, unfortunately, like you always see him, not always, but majority of the time, with like a glass of brown liquor in his hand, and his eyes are very yellow, like that jaundice, which speaks to liver issues. So our bodies are just really delicate, and we can make the choice to either build them up or essentially tear them down. And so I'm on my health and wellness journey. Um, I'm actually I'm in the middle of writing some ebooks that I will present to you guys shortly. So be on the lookout for that. But just, drinks that can detox the body, that are full of, fruits and vegetables, like, putting cucumbers and lemons and things that will help, not only because I know a lot of people don't like water, but that will help detox your body and get those toxins out. One of my favorite things is aloe vera. Oh my gosh. I don't want to make Denzel's video all about my detox journey, but I'm just saying that I'm proud of him for, getting sober, for living in his truth, right? Because a lot of people are just really ashamed when it comes to addictions to different substances. It's definitely a difficult thing that a lot of people struggle with. And so I'm glad to know that has taken control of that, and he wants to live to be, 100 and beyond. Don't we all? Well, maybe not all, but I know most people want a long, healthy life, and I'm glad to hear that he's not retiring either. I'm really looking forward to future films, Equalizer, or even him behind the camera. Um, Denzel Washington is someone who, you know, has so much wisdom to pass on. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him in Gladiator 2 in future movies. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about him saying that he, shot up and he never got strung out? Which, listen, that's a blessing. Okay. That by the grace of God. I feel like human beings, we are so, everybody's different. Our DNA is different. Everyone's fingerprints is different. And that speaks to our biochemistry. So, what affects one person might not affect someone else the same way, especially when it comes to illegal substances, right? Because there is no uniform in regards to, you know, what the dosage is, what it's cut with, all those things. That's why I'm like, it's so scary. And even again, going back to prescription drugs, I remember I had my wisdom teeth out. This is a true story. Like I got my wisdom teeth out a few years ago, and my dentist prescribed me Vicodin, and I was really nervous. I was like, do I have to take it? Like, do I have to? And on one hand, it was a good dentist. I actually, um, he's like, yeah, you have to at least take one. So I took one, and when I was on the operating table or whatever, because they put me under anesthesia, I remember right when I had the gas mask on, I was like, I clutched his hand in the nurse's hands, and I was like, "Can you guys pray with me while I'm on the table?" I was so serious, and I prayed until I passed out, and then when I woke up, my wisdom teeth were gone. But the pain medication did help. I didn't finish the bottle though, just because again, listen, it's a slippery slope. Everyone's biochemistry is different. I'm sure some people can pop those things like Skittles. I didn't want to take that chance, Like once you alter your biochemistry and your brain chemistry, it's really a struggle. And it's like life is hard enough. You know what I mean? Listen, life is a struggle, and the last thing um that I need on top of everything else that I have going on, you know what I mean, is like an addiction to pain medication. So I, thank my dentist for doing what he needed to do, but I'm glad that he wasn't one like Dr. David who overprescribed, pain medication. And it's unfortunate because I think the Sackler family, the ones who came out with Oxycontin, it was an Oxy. I remember it started with Oxy, but they had a whole family. I think it was the Sackler family that created that opioid that was essentially abused, and it kicked off the opioid crisis. But they got like a slap on the wrist. I think they got a fine, but they served no jail time. Whereas I know plenty of people, some in my own family, who were put behind bars for decades for just like weed, which is now completely legal. And, people even own their own dispensaries. So it's ridiculous. Yeah, all these substances, I would just say be careful if you do choose to partake in them, because you don't know how they're going to affect you individually. Just because Denzel experimented in his youth and he wasn't necessarily affected doesn't mean that it won't affect you. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. But I'm glad to hear that he was not strung out, that he is doing better, that he's focusing on his health and wellness journey, as am I. um, and I hope to see him live a very long life, a prosperous life, and continue to work until, he chooses to step away. But anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts on Denzel's sobriety journey. Do you agree? Like, do you think that, um, him trying all these different substances, do you think that they had like a negative effect, or I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm just glad that he's okay. I'll say that. And I'm glad that he's had a sobriety for the past 10 years. He's an excellent actor. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.